All right, y'all. Welcome to the first episode of All Takes Matter, man. We're here with the guys today, man. This is Derek Williams, Skinny the Pepper, Skinny Man, all of the above. Man, we got over here, we got Jamal, man. Make sure you hit everybody on IG, man. We got our man, the famous, man, the great sports reporter, man. Hendo. Hendo, what's going on, baby?
Hey, bless man. The Zeke apologist is in the building.
Oh, man.
The Dallas Mavericks aficionado, the MLB aficionado, we in the building, man. I'm happy to be here with my guys, man. Y'all be sure to subscribe, support these dudes, like the videos, and leave a comment for them. Appreciate that.
Jamal, how you feeling today, man?
I'm good, man. Glad to have the first one. Let's get this thing started, man.
I want to get this thing started. All right, well, let's go ahead and hop into it, man. Mom, we got a big weekend this weekend, man. This rivalry gets a lot better, man. UGA 1 versus Tennessee 2, man. They call this a game of the century, man. It always happens in the SEC for whatever reason. It always happens in the SEC. So, Mom, what you got on that, man?
Of course, I got Georgia winning, but man, before the season, man, when you looked at Georgia's schedule, to me, Tennessee was the only possible loss, the toughest game they had on the schedule. Tennessee's been impressive, man. Georgia's been shaky. To me, I think when it comes down to it, I think Georgia's been here. Tennessee is on the rise. More power to Josh Heupel and what he's doing up there in Knoxville. But I think at the end of the day, the better team is going to be Georgia. They're at home between the hedges. I expect to win by Georgia, man.
Yeah.
Hendo, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, look, man, Georgia's Georgia. I mean, I like Jalen Hyatt. I like what he did a couple of weeks ago. He's had a couple of big games. He's putting himself in that draft stock, but at the end of the day, it's Georgia, man. And I think Georgia's in the class of their own. No disrespect to the other teams that we'll probably talk about, but Georgia's in the class of their own. And I think that they did lose a linebacker. I think it's Smith that's out now, if I'm not mistaken. But this team is still dangerous. I expect to be a game from the tight end, Bauer. So I'm going with Georgia. I think Georgia wins this game. I think I think the first half will be close, but I think the second half Georgia's gonna put it on them. I just think that Georgia is who they are, man. But I'm gonna show some love to Tennessee. But yeah, they got this game. This is a lot for them.
Well, I'm gonna tell y'all, man. At the beginning of the season, I was high on Tennessee. I said Tennessee would be the second best team in the East. I felt real good about Hooker. I felt real good about Heupel and just what they had last year. They was in a lot of games last year. They just could not pull it off. But I think the difference in this game right here is going to be defense. And Tennessee, as great as that offense is, Heupel come bringing a Big 12 high explosive offense to the SEC. I think defense is ultimately what's going to hurt Tennessee. Tennessee does not play great defense. I mean, they can score, but I think Georgia's going to be the best defensive team they go up against. And this is just my hot take, man. All takes matter, right?
Yeah.
Georgia's going to win by 10 plus points this weekend between the hedges. I got Georgia winning by 10 plus points. I think we're going to be able to cover Tennessee the way that Alabama could not. We're not bringing a safety up. And, hey, if you're going to run the ball, Tennessee, run it. I got Georgia by 10 plus points, man. That's my hot take on that.
I think Georgia's going to have to run the ball, continue to – they look good running the ball last week. The run's been spotty this year. But I think it's going to come down to stops, man. And Georgia has the ability to make stops. Can Tennessee do it? I don't know. Is that defense is good? Like they gave up, 42 points to Alabama?
Yeah.
49.
49. Yeah, 49.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying our offense is Alabama, but when Tennessee needed to make stops, they couldn't make stops against Alabama. So I think it's going to come down to that, man. I think Georgia can make stops. We're going to see if Tennessee can make some.
And Georgia's been there. Once again, like you said earlier, they've been there, dog. Like this team has been there. Like this ain't a pressure game for them. This is definitely a pressure game for Tennessee to make everybody know, hey, we here. And like I said, I like Jalen Hyatt, but he ain't seen that kind of defense yet. So we're gonna see.
Yeah. We're gonna see. All right, let's move on. Stay on college football. The college football rankings, man, the playoff rankings come out tonight. Hendo, what's your top 6? Who you like right now tonight? How you think it's gonna go?
Well, I mean, obviously Georgia and Tennessee. Georgia's clearly number one. I know people want to say, well, they've had a few games where you can look, but Georgia's number one. Tennessee should definitely be number 2. I'll say this. TCU. I know I'm being a little homerish on this, but if you watch TCU this year, they've had a lot of comeback wins. I'm a huge fan of Keandre Miller. I think right now he has like 900 some rushing yards. He's been amazing. Quentin Johnson, if you guys don't know, wide receiver, he's touted to being one of those special type of receivers in the draft. I mean, Max Dugan, like this TCU team, Sonny Dykes got me going, y'all. Like I like what TCU is doing. I think they should be in the top 6. I don't know exactly where, but I do have them in the top 6. I know strength of schedule doesn't help them a little bit, but they do play Texas. So, I mean, Texas ain't the greatest thing, but it may put some legitimacy to it. I like Ohio State. I know we got a friend of ours that is going to love that. Ohio State is 3 right now. I mean, CJ Stroud is CJ Stroud, but I will give Ohio State that nod. Bama, even though they do have the one loss, I think that they still should be warranted as a top 6 team. I still think TCU is better than them, so I'll put Bama at 6. And then one more team, I'm gonna go Michigan, man. I'm going to go Michigan. I just think that you gotta do some. Like I said, Georgia's. I don't care who's 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6.
Yeah,
Georgia's number 1 for me.
Absolutely.
And I feel like there's no team right now in college football when Georgia's at their peak. I don't think there's any team that comes close to them. And like I said, even if Tennessee were to lose this game going forward, I still think depending on how they lose, you should still put them in the top 6. But I think if they do it today, I think TCU does move up a notch. If I'm not mistaken, the last poll, they may have had them at 6. I think TCU has a chance to be in the top 4. I don't know about top 3 because of schedule. And I think Ohio State does have that edge to be number 3. But, yeah, I think TCU definitely deserves love. But Georgia, clear-cut number 1. I don't want to hear it from anybody else. And y'all got y'all love from Georgia for me.
Yeah. I think the top 6 are going to be chalk. Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and Clemson. That's what the poll will say. I don't think Clemson is one of the 6 best teams in the country. I hear you with the TCU, Hendo.
Yeah.
I would take Clemson out and put Oregon. What I saw against UCLA, it was a different team from when they played us week 1. When we beat them 49-3 or something like that. Yeah. Defensively, how they played against UCLA in a big game like that, big atmosphere for the Pac-12. That showed me something, man. They're a different team than 8 weeks ago. So if I had to pick a team right now, I would say to go along with those other 5 and take Clemson out, it'll be Oregon. I still don't think Oregon has a chance to get to the playoff though, because I think USC will beat them. I'm still holding on to my preseason pick of UCLA getting to the playoff. But Oregon right now I think has been more impressive than TCU. But TCU clearly the best team in the Big 12. So, but those would be my 6.
The lack of Big 12, yeah.
Hey, I mean, I think the Big 12 has been more competitive though. This season right here. I've been high on Texas, even though they pretty much fell off. But my 6, of course, Georgia's number 1. I feel Tennessee is number 2. Okay. If I had to put a number 3, and I would put Michigan over Ohio State. I think Michigan is the better team right now. I take Michigan over Ohio State. But I will park Ohio State at 4. I definitely like the TCU at 5, and I got Alabama at 6. I mean, just being honest, I think Bama is the second best team in the country. I mean, Tennessee won on that day, but I feel like we played that game 10 out of 10 times. Alabama will win 9. Yes. I really do feel that, even though I called, in the beginning of the year that Tennessee would beat Alabama, I felt like this would be their year. Alabama got the best player in football. I mean, we saw that on the field. So I think Alabama is the third best team in the country, but they will be 6 on that poll. So Clemson, that schedule, I mean, Boston College just lost to UConn. All right. I mean, Boston College lost to UConn.
Yeah.
And Clemson's gonna get a pat on the back because they win the ACC. I mean, I think that's a joke right now. So those are my 6. Now, this is a good one right here, y'all. This is a good one. I don't know if y'all seen Shannon Sharp's podcast, man, but he had Dwight Howard on, man. And Dwight said he feels disrespected. And y'all, you know, we've been talking amongst each other for a while, man. And I told y'all, man, I think Dwight is the top three, my top three most disrespected players ever, man. So, Ma, I'm gonna pass it to you, man. Man, what's your thoughts on Dwight Howard and him feeling disrespected?
Top three most disrespected player ever. I think I can go with that. I can probably agree with that. I agree with him, man. One, like he said, to not be on the top 75 is
asinine.
Is ridiculous, especially when you take into account the guys that actually made it, that have played in the last 25 years. Like the guys that they put on, there's no way Dwight shouldn't have made it over a few of those guys. For him not to be in the league now, I don't know. I think it's still this perception about Dwight that's out there that he doesn't take the game serious. He worries about outside things other than basketball. For the most part, I don't think that should be the case. He can still help a team. He can definitely help a contender, like why the Lakers or somebody like the Hawks, somebody who need a backup big. Why they wouldn't give him a call to come give him 15, 20 minutes sometimes. I don't understand why that wouldn't be the case. It has to be something other than what he does on the court, I think. But yeah, I agree with Dwight. He should feel disrespected.
Yeah, for me, just covering the league and having opportunities to talk to Dwight, I will say that there's a sense around the league, just asking past players about Dwight, the immaturity part that a lot of people hold weight on him against still, which to me, I just think that his play overmatched that, especially in his prime. There was a point in time that he was in Charlotte, right? He was giving that team 14 and 12 a game. 14 and 12 in any NBA year is a damn good year for a guy that was supposed to be over the hill, right? Dwight right now on the Dallas Mavericks will be a starting center, considering that they got JaVale McGee and different guys, but he's better than those guys, I think, in my opinion. And he should feel disrespected. I mean, like he gets the brunt of when he was at his best, the center position died. Yeah. And now we can is revitalizing now with Jokic and Embiid, those type of guys. But he gets the brunt of that. And people use that against him, and I think it's unfair. Dwight, to me, he's a generational guy. He was once a generational guy. I mean, he's, in my opinion, not naming Shaq, what he did for that organization, he's probably, to me, either the second or third most important Orlando Magic player ever. Maybe the first, depending on how you look at it, because he got them to the finals as well, and being the guy. And like I said, Dwight, yeah, he should feel disrespected. I mean, the 75 greatest, like I said, you ask these OGs out there, I never really hear much about him. And I always wonder, is it a hate, or is it just because he was a defensive guy, but he still gave you 19 or 20 a game and excellent rebounder? But yeah, he could be right now. Dwight Howard could be anybody's backup. I can't think of a backup in the league right now better than Dwight Howard.
That's better than him.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, come on, man. Like Dwight Howard walks on the floor, but I do think that people hold weight on his maturity a little too much. Like he's smarter now, wiser. But there's always been the rumblings about you probably don't want him in the locker room because of some of the antics. But I also think he doesn't get the fair shake. So yeah, Dwight should feel disrespected.
Yeah,
I mean, like I say, top three most disrespected player ever. Even when he was with the Lakers in their championship season, man, if you look at the way they officiate Dwight Howard don't get the benefit of a doubt on any call. If he's around there, they're gonna call foul on Dwight Howard. He don't get officiated properly. Top 75. We're looking at top 75. You can't tell me, man, with the number of defensive player of the years, the number of rebounding titles, the number of block titles Dwight Howard has, averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds a game. I mean, it was a 20 and 10 guy. At one point, Dwight Howard was the top 3 player in the NBA. ESPN even rated him as a top 3 NBA player. And first, you tell me that he's not top 75?
Exactly.
But you got some guys on there that don't have any accolades, but they can shoot. You know what I'm saying? But they don't have it in there like what Dwight Howard was for the game, man, what he is for the Orlando Magic. And today, like Dwight Howard can still play. The man is still in shape. The man can still get you 20 points. It's just that the game changed on him at the center position, where the center position is pretty much changed. And now we've fallen in love with, I would say, European style of basketball. But, the man has a personality. You can't hate that. You know, he has a personality. He's gonna laugh. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna bring light to any room that he's in. That shouldn't be a knock on his play. Every team that he's went on, man, has been a contender. He's held his end on defense. Yeah, he's in year 19, but at year 19, Dwight Howard is probably still more athletic and probably can still do way more than guys in year 3 or 4 in the league. So should he be disrespected? Should he feel that way? Absolutely. Like I said, he's the number 3 most disrespected player in history to me in the game of basketball. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
nah, he has a strong case right there.
Yeah. I agree.
Ooh,
Oh,
oh. Baltimore Ravens get Roquan Smith. Hendo, does it move the needle for you?
no, it does not. Because I mean, look, yeah, defensively that team does have some like holes in the defense, and obviously get one of the better linebackers for football. And look, all of our teams, we would celebrate having a guy like that on our team. But for me, this once again shows the proof and DNA of how this team is built. You're hearing stories about Brandon Cooks. Like, we don't know what's going to happen in the next hour or so, right, with the trade deadline. But you got guys like Brandon Cooks. Odell hasn't signed. If this team doesn't address that wide receiver position, at least get another guy in there. I like Duvernay. I like Bateman. I like those guys, but you need a guy. You need a guy. And I'm not talking about like you need a top 10 receiver, but you need a guy to go along with that offense. My thing is that division is winnable, as we see last night, and shout out to Maul on that. But that division is very winnable. They got the chance to do it. Roquan does help them, but it's not moving the needle. Like, at the end of the day, this team has an offensive issue. And we know what the offensive issue is. There's probably 2 people we look at, and that's Greg Roman and Lamar Jackson. And I feel like it's probably more of the philosophy that they're trying to do. But yeah, I mean, Roquan Smith, to me, how are they going to pay this guy? So you're telling me you're going to pay him, and you got to worry about Lamar's contract. Now, I do know there's a compensatory picks that go along with that. So if they don't re-sign him, they get a 3rd-round compensatory pick from that. But to me, for Chicago, looking at Roquan Smith in his last game, I mean, Tony Pollard was running right back past him every play, and it looked like he didn't want to be out there. So we'll see. So, but yeah, like I said, I think it may help them defensively slightly, but we know the issue of this team, and we talk about it all the time.
It's on you, Scanner.
You go me. I mean, you know my thoughts, man. I don't think that for Baltimore to win it, it's gonna be defense, man. I think Baltimore got to be able to make plays when it comes time to make plays when you're going against a lot of the better teams in football. Mm-hmm. And I think the guy that you're gonna pay the most money to, he's gonna have to be able to be the one to move the needle. And I think we still have questions on that right now. And so, if anything, because I mean, what I've heard all year long is that the quarterback does not have any help on offense. Yeah. And if he doesn't have any help on offense, then, you know, Baltimore, why do you feel the need to address the defensive side of the ball if your guy needs more help? And right now, what I've heard, Hendo and Jamal, is that he don't have a wide receiver. He don't have a big name wide receiver. And so if we go talking about moving the needle, you know, why do you feel Roquan is more important than a big name wide receiver at the trade deadline? So I don't think it moves the needle. I think Baltimore, we're going to get what we get, probably a first round wild card or division round exit.
Does this move the needle? No, but I'm gonna try to be unbiased here. Anybody who know me know Roquan is my favorite middle linebacker from Georgia. Surpassing my man Odell Thurman a few years ago. Also, if anybody knows me, they know middle linebackers are. I believe middle linebackers are a dime a dozen. Like, you know, a lot of positions. I think when you talk about Baltimore, when you talk about Chicago, when you talk about Roquan himself, I think all 3 of them won here. Because on one side, they're in a rebuilding stage. For you to get a 2 and a 5 and maybe something else for Roquan is a win, because you don't want to pay him, but you also get a couple draft picks that can help you in the long run. So I think it's a win for them. For Baltimore, you give up those picks. And again, I'm not big on middle linebackers making your team better, but I think Roquan is a legit middle linebacker, and I think because they are bottom third in points and yards on defense, I think he does help them.
Yeah.
That doesn't say, like you guys said before, it shouldn't stop there. They do need weapons on offense. No need to go into that in the conversations we had off of here. But so I think it does help them on defense. It doesn't make them better than they are overall as a team. They still win that division probably. They get into the playoffs. Roquan may or may not help them in the playoffs. That's yet to see. But for Roquan, you go to a team that's probably, if they're giving up a second and they're giving up, a fifth and whatever, they're probably going to pay you. So that's a win for Roquan. You go from a team that won't pay you to a team that's, if they give that up, they're probably going to pay you. So that's a win for all three in my estimation. But does it move the needle? No, because that team does have to do more on the offensive side to be a Super Bowl contender. So I'm gonna say no, it doesn't move the needle, but it does help their defense get a little better.
Yeah, like I would have thought, like to me, like with J.K. Dobbins being hurt, this team has a run issue right now. And to me, like I look at San Francisco going after Christian McCaffrey. If the story is true about Alvin Kamara, he's available. I mean, it may take from what I've heard, it may not take as much because you're taking on that salary. You need weapons on offense. And to me, look, Mark Andrews is that guy. He's arguably the second best tight end in football, depending on how you feel about it. We know who one is, but yeah, Roquan,
if they could have got Alvin Kamara for a second and a fifth, I think they would have took Alvin Kamara over Roquan. I think that would have been easy. But I think they want the first for Alvin.
You're right about that on Roquan though, because the middle linebacker position is very interesting because like it's not that many guys, and like usually when you go get a guy like that, that means he has to be good, right? Like I can't think of too many middle linebackers better than Roquan Smith in football.
Exactly.
He may be the best right now, right? So like you got Fred Warner, different guys like that, Bobby Wagner, but he's that guy. So yeah, I guess from Nate's team standpoint, they've had a history obviously with Ray Lewis. Yeah. They look at the middle linebacker position different than what we probably all do, but there's no way they walk out there with. Like I said, I love Bateman and Duvernay and this Wallace kid who we haven't even seen yet. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, let's hop into this one, and this is one that hey, I'm gonna go ahead and jump in on this one right here. Which division leader surprises me? The first one is the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons is by far. I mean, Jamal, please, leave me alone. The Atlanta Falcons being number one in the NFC South. I mean, I didn't see that one, but I think the one that's even bigger than that one, the Seattle Seahawks. If you would have told me midway through the season that Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks were the number one team in the NFC West, I would have lost all my money, man. Seattle by far is my surprise division leader right now by far.
You can go ahead, Hendo.
I mean, the Falcons, man. I mean, you got Marcus Mariota, who, I mean, quote unquote, just I guess they're improvising, right? I mean, they got the talent outside, man. Like I'm a huge Drake London and Kyle Pitts fan. They play hard, and they're missing probably one of the best cornerbacks in football, if not the best, in AJ Terrell, who I'm very high on. They just find ways to win, and I know people want to use they're in the worst division, but you still got to win. And every year or every week that teams that we have picked, like especially for me, I picked them not to win. They've won, and like I said, I gotta give them love. Where I don't care if they're 4-4 or whatever they are. They're winning games, man, and we got to give them love. Like, look, they're in a situation right now where there's no quarterback right now that's out there, but they're a team that's sort of like in a weird spot, right? Because you probably wanted to bank on the ideal of maybe per se tanking to go get the quarterback like CJ Stroud, maybe in the first. But you're in a situation now when you're in the middle of the draft, especially with the way the NFL's been this year. So I'm gonna say them off the bat, and then you're right about the Seahawks. Who would have thought Geno Smith would be out there? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I can't name too many guys on that defense. Like I know the offense. Like I know, and look, the offense they've had the injury. Penny, he got hurt, right? They brought this Walker dude. All of a sudden, he's amazing, right? But you got Metcalf, you got Tyler Lockett and different things. But yeah, Geno Smith has done his job, and like I said, yeah, it's very shocking that those two teams are in the spot they're in. But it also shows that, like, look, man, like they got talent on those teams. I think that it just takes a little tweaking, and like in Atlanta spot, the quarterback position probably getting better or upgraded too. Like, who knows? That number 8 over there in Baltimore may end up in Atlanta with that type of talent, and then sky's the limit. But I'm impressed. I mean, like I said, Atlanta, they won me over, man. Just realizing for my fantasy sake that Cordell Patterson ain't played, and they still able out there to put up points like that, regardless of who they play.
Mm-hmm.
Got to show them some love. So Atlanta's definitely my number one clear cut.
Yeah, I think it's the same for all three of us, Atlanta and Seattle. Just to piggyback on Hendo with my Falcons, for Cordell Patterson to be out, for the injuries we've had to key players, we've still played pretty good all year. We've competed. Surprisingly, we've competed, but they got a lot of guys that have pride, man. A lot of guys that after this year want to have a job in the NFL, and like that tape don't lie, man. You get out there and you don't perform on a losing team, winning team. That's your resume. So we got a bunch of guys out there who are fighting, clawing to get a name for themselves. So yeah, they are the most surprising. I still, something in me says they won't win the division, but I'm happy they're leading it right now. We're in a, Hendo, like you said with Mariota, we're in a real pickle with this quarterback thing because we drafted Desmond Ridder, and if we are competing to win a division, will we see Ridder this year? Don't think so. I think if we stay competitive and if we're in the hunt to win the NFC South, we don't see Ridder, and I think the team goes in a different direction. Maybe if they can find somebody in the second round or late in the first round, they go quarterback, or maybe they find a better bridge quarterback on the market in the offseason, or they stick it out with Mariota for another year. Who knows? With Seattle, I don't think they'll win that division. San Francisco is my Super Bowl pick, so I think they'll end up winning it, especially with the addition of McCaffrey. But I agree. Again, we all agree on the same two teams. Seattle is surprising. Who would have thought Geno would have had a better season thus far than Russell Wilson?
Geno
be balling, man.
It's amazing.
Geno, man, might have resurrected his career so far.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, man, the most disappointing teams, again, anybody that know me, I was high on Jacksonville, still high on Jacksonville. Yeah. I had Jacksonville winning the AFC South. Been a tough go, bunch of tough losses. So for me, that's a disappointment on the other side. And the Chargers. A lot of key injuries. I thought the Chargers would win the AFC West. Doubt that happens now. Kansas City's been playing some really good ball. So just to, get off topic a little bit, I think those two have been most disappointing for me this year.
I like that. And for me, I would say Green Bay because, we knew the receiver position was an issue. Mm-hmm. We didn't know they would be to this extreme to where, they may not actually be good. And to me, I got to take back what I said. I think we were all together when I kind of mentioned Hines, Minnesota, even considered the best team in that division, but it's clear cut who's the best team in that division. Maybe something changes a couple of weeks, but Green Bay in Las Vegas, Skinny talked about how Las Vegas, everybody kept saying, Devontae Adams is there. They don't have an excuse. You added one of the best receivers in football to a team that had a guy that caught 100 balls last year and a tight end and a running back that a lot of people deem that's still pretty good with Derek Carr. So, Vegas took that too.
Yeah, I felt like Vegas wasn't going to move the needle with Devontae. I mean, if you just saw the way he played. But if we're going back to disappointing team, of course, I'm most disappointed about my Broncos. I don't think it's close. I thought Russell Wilson was going to bring an offense, and I should have known better with Nathaniel Hackett because Green Bay only ran back shoulder throws to Devontae Adams. That was the only play they had. So I should have knew that he did not have an offensive bag, but he pump faked us. And Russ just don't look like anything right now, man. But hopefully, they'll get some things. We're not too far out of the hunt. We still got Kansas City twice, got Vegas one more time, and we see the Chargers and all those games. Every game we lost, we were in the game. So we could easily be 7-0 right now, and we can easily be 0-7 right now as well. So that's my thing. Now, Hendo, I want to throw this one to you. Auburn fired their coach, and it's been some rumblings in the air. Is this something Deion should consider? Do you think Deion is a top candidate? Do you think Auburn would consider Deion as well?
So the Deion thing is interesting because I know there's some dynamic of, what he's done for the HBCU, what he's done with Jackson State. I think they should consider him. College football is in need of a guy like that in a bigger power conference. Deion does have the cachet with NFL teams and organizations, and I think that helps them from a recruiting standpoint too, because you get guys like, one thing is like when you go to Bama, when you go to Georgia, the first thing that's talked about, we want you here, education is everything, but you got a chance of making the NFL. And I think that if you get a Deion in there, who wouldn't want to go play for, arguably to me, in my opinion, one of the 10 greatest football players ever? And will it help them win immediately? I don't know, but I also think that Deion has the charisma to put people in the seats. We never really had that as with coaches, right? Like Nick Saban is Kirby Smart. Those guys are great guys, but they're not like put people in the seats. Their talent puts people in the seats and how they coach. But Deion's gonna put people in the seats just because he's Deion. Now, if I'm Florida State, I'm probably looking at like, dang, we probably should have jumped on that a little sooner. But I think they should give him a chance, and I think that like his recruiting is gonna be phenomenal. I mean, look what he was able to do to get the kid that he got. I mean, to go to Jackson State. I think that now he's going to have the money, the resources, the opportunity. Now, I don't know how they're going to feel about his antics. That's going to be another story. But I also think guys like Nick Saban, the SEC, they're going to embrace that because that's another guy you can put on TV every week. And think about the SEC, that network, like that programming, how that's going to work. You can put Auburn on TV. You can put Deion on TV every week. People love Deion. You either love him or hate him, but he's probably more loved. So I think they can give him a chance. And I think if I'm a recruit, I'm looking like, obviously I'll probably take Georgia because of who they are and Bama, but I wouldn't be bad to go play for Deion either right now.
I mean, first things first, Auburn would be doing themselves a disservice if they didn't kick the tires on Deion, trying to get him there as a head coach. My biggest thing about Deion at Jackson State is, at what point are you going to play somebody? I get you dominating the SWAC. You play other small schools, but at what point do you, like, the product on the field becomes impressive? Like, and that only happens if you actually play some good competition.
Yeah.
You're not going to find good competition in the SWAC. So at what point will Deion feel I got enough talent on my team to go play? And I'm not saying go play an SEC school. Mm-hmm. Go play a Sunbelt school. Go play a top half of the league Sunbelt school or Mountain West school. At what point does that happen? Because at some point that may get old and stale. Like right now, he's top of the world. He has everybody talking about who is SWAC. I am SWAC, and that's cool. He got all the HBCUs feeling good about themselves, thinking they can be the next one. But at some point, he's going to have to produce something other than getting a bunch of transfers, doing a bunch of videos and all that. He's going to have to produce on the field. So, but back to my original point, Auburn would be doing themselves a disservice if they didn't kick the tires on him.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Mal, I think Auburn has to reach out. I think Deion has to consider it, entertain it. I think that's the words that he used. Hey, I will entertain the offer. I don't think Deion fits. And Hendo, I think based on a lot of the reasons that you said, Deion is a personality within itself. And one thing that Jackson State gives Deion the ability to be is himself. And with him being himself, I don't see a Auburn allowing Key Glock to be in the locker room, Snoop Dogg to be in the locker room. When you seeing Deion on the field during the middle of the game, you know what I'm saying, and they playing C Murder, during the middle of the game. I don't think Auburn is ready for that. And so I think if Deion goes to a Power 5 school, he's going to have to coach a Power 5 school their way. But he's been able to build Jackson State his way. And so I don't think it's a money issue. I mean, Deion is still heavily endorsed. I mean, he got Beats. He has Aflac. It's not like he's hurting getting money for himself in that standpoint. So I think if he goes to Auburn, it's going to be more than the school. Like you mentioned Nick Saban. Nick Saban, as great as Nick Saban is, probably the best football coach ever. He's not bigger than Alabama. He's a god in Alabama, but he's not bigger than Alabama. But Deion as a personality, Jackson State allows Jackson State to be Deion. So I don't think it's a good fit. But I'm glad to see Deion have some value in the coaching ranks. But Maul, I agree with you as well. I don't know if they changed this year with the SWAC champion be able to go and compete in the Division I AA playoffs. Like I want to see them play some North Dakota states. Let's see where Jackson State ranks up when you put a hat on the hat against the other D1 AA schools, because
Exactly.
he's the big fish in this pond. But even though this is year 2, it seems a little bit longer because we had that abbreviated COVID season that they played in the spring. But this is technically still year 2. But I want to see what Deion matches up when we go into these bigger ponds with the North Dakota states and all those guys as well. So now this is a guy I've been bragging on all year. I felt like it was his time. But what do y'all feel about Mr. Hooker being the Heisman favorite this year? Dethroned the guy right now up in Ohio State. Everybody said that guy has a name. C.J. Stroud was going to be the Heisman favorite. And all of a sudden, Hooker has came in and taken the reins. And they saying right now it is his Heisman to lose, man.
That's what Vegas says, or who says
Vegas is saying that right now. Vegas, hey, shout out to Vegas, man. Vegas try to let us know some things sometimes, man. So, Bob, how you feel about Hooker being the favorite right now?
I don't mind him being the favorite. That's fine. But I also think you got to put Caleb Williams in there. And Caleb Williams he's had a tremendous season. Got USC back where they want to be. Almost where they want to be. Also, running back for Michigan, Blake Corum. Having a real good season, quietly having a great season. If they end up undefeated, winning the Big Ten, don't be surprised. I think definitely he'll be in New York, but he may win it too. But yeah, I'm not mad at him, the Hooker. Number 2 team in the country right now, possibly the number 2 team in the country right now. Playing well, man. Throwing the ball all over the place. High octane offense. I think they got the number 2 scoring offense in the country. I'm not mad at it. He could be the favorite, but I think those 3 for me would be the guys I'll keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'll say for me, Hooker, obviously, what he's doing right now with Tennessee. I mean, my thing is going to be this. Georgia game is going to be very important for that to actually happen, because it's one thing to go out there and lose to Georgia, right? Which I think we kind of all agree they're probably going to lose to Georgia, but it's how you lose to Georgia. And I think that they're going to use that against him, because, I mean, you got to show up in the bigger games and the bigger moments. I mean, what he did to Kentucky was phenomenal. I mean, I mean, that was crazy. Bo Nix. I know Oregon started out weird. They got stumped. I would never make another bet. That's why I'm never making another bet against Georgia like anybody. Not Bo Nix, man. I mean, his stock is risen now. If I'm not mistaken, I had to go look at the odds myself. I think he's up in the top 5 now as far as Kansas City. I think he has a few more games to where he can sort of solidify himself. And I mean, like I like the Michigan running back, but C.J. Stroud is undefeated, and I wonder how do they weigh that now, because winning does play a factor in that. Like, I mean, you could be great, but a lot of the reason why the guys like liners that certain quarterbacks have won is because their teams were undefeated and they were powerhouses.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't so much about what they did individually, because we talked about that year when, Texas had Vince Young. Vince Young probably could have won Heisman, but the team that he was going against was that USC team, and they were unreal. So I do agree with Hooker being a favorite, but we're going to find out with Georgia, because everything can get real. And if you go out there and have a stink, and what I mean is this, it's okay to go out there and throw a pick or whatever, but if you go out there and look like you had never been a part of it, then everything goes away.
It blows it up.
But like I said, I like the receiver that they got. He's throwing to as well. I don't think he's a Heisman favorite, but he got some weapons to deal with.
Two Guns Jr., man. You can throw that name in there too.
I don't know who that is. I heard about him.
Two Guns Jr., man. Hey, Ohio State, man.
Hey, Two Guns is the truth. Junior's the truth. But I'm a rock with it. But like I said, I would be very shocked that if he doesn't win it. But I think that this game is important for him. Either win or loss. It's how you lose is going to determine that as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you, Heisman favorite. I can definitely agree with that, but I still say that Bryce Young is the best player in the country. I hate that he got hurt and missed the game, and and they do have the loss to Tennessee. But even when Alabama played Tennessee, Hooker took advantage of some great play calls. Like I say, Heupel can play. Is a wonderful play call, and that's no disrespect to Hooker. I think Bryce Young is just the best player in the country, hands down. But I think, one, we're probably not going to see a guy get 2 Heismans in a row. Then he missed the game and he has that loss. So I think it's fair for Hooker to be the Heisman favorite right now, man. He's doing it in the best conference and he's doing it against the best competition. And Hendo, I do agree with you. This Georgia game can be a make or break game. And I just, I hope it is a break game for the sake of Georgia. But Hendon Hooker is somebody that I've been high on all season long, since the preseason, since last year, seeing him play and compete. So I like him winning the favorite. I like him winning the Heisman this year.
He can win it or lose it Saturday, man.
Yeah, because if he go out there, I'm telling y'all, he's going to be a fan favorite or even a media favorite if he goes out there and just shows that he's comparable to play against a team of that nature. But if he goes out there and has the I didn't look like I should have been out there moment, boy, they are going to kill him for that.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, now, Hendo, I want to see this one right here, man. This is because I know where you're going to go on this topic right here.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. So I think I know where you're going to go. So, Hendo, we got the way too early NBA MVP right now, man. Hendo, I really want to see which way you're going to go with this, Hendo. Who's your way too early MVP in the league right now?
I know by popular demand, I should say Luka. I think obviously covering the team. I mean, statistically, he's doing some things this year that are phenomenal. But I'm going to go Giannis. I just look at Milwaukee, man.
Whoa. You pick Giannis?
Yeah, man, because my thing is this, man. Like, you got to win, too, with it. And I know we gave that 1-year exception to Russ, right, when he won MVP, Russell Westbrook. But to me, you're doing this without Chris Middleton. And I know it's early, so this is the too early thing. But they're playing great basketball, man, without Chris Middleton. And he's the engine, right? And to me, people don't want to accept Giannis's dominance. And I'm hoping, in a way, obviously I would love for Luka to win MVP, but I'm hoping Giannis wins MVP for sake of like all-time legacy standpoints, because it's going to be hard to deny a lot of things at that point with him. And I think right now he is the favorite. He's winning. He's the schedules, obviously, strength of schedules could be questioned, but he's played some good teams. And like I said, when you don't have his Robin or quote-unquote 1A, 1B type guy and Chris Middleton, he's still doing it. And he's willing that team. And look, man, he had to go on and give himself some flowers when he was talking about it the other day in the press conference. So I'm going to say Giannis. I mean, obviously Luka is phenomenal. But look, man, there's a lot of guys right now that are putting up crazy numbers. But I don't really hold weight on guys that are teams that are 3-3 or 4-3. Like John Morant's been talked about. All those guys are well-deserved, but Giannis is clear-cut for me right now.
Hendo, I ain't gonna tell you no story, man. You shocked the mess out of me because I just knew you was gonna pick Luka, right? But
we gotta be real.
Hey, Hendo, I agree with you. Giannis is right now is my way too early MVP. The numbers that he's putting up, I mean, I think we got like 4 or 5 guys that's averaging over 30 points a game right now. But for Giannis to still be undefeated, like you said, without Chris Middleton, and he's going out there and taking it, man. Like when you just go and just dominate the way that he's been dominating, it's just hard for me not to say that Giannis is that guy right now. Like he's the best player in the league right now. I think the other guy in Golden State has a case as well. But Giannis is putting his team on his back, man. He's doing it on all ends of the floor, man. He can score up 40. He's going to grab 15 rebounds. He's going to be the best defensive player. He's going to be the best everything out there, man. So I'm going Giannis as well. So, Maul, I'm interested to see where you go on with this thing, man. Where you going with it?
Man, look, man. Yeah, it's clearly Giannis, but man, there's somebody that's really near and dear to my heart, man.
Oh man.
All right, Hendo. I bet you I know where going with this one.
I know where you're going to. Go ahead.
No, y'all don't know where I'm going. There's somebody near and dear to my heart that called Giannis for the past 2 years of robbing. I'm a leave him nameless, but for the past 2 years he's called Middleton the Batman, and my man Giannis and Milwaukee, they're the only undefeated team in the league. Giannis is averaging 31, 13, and 5, I believe it is. 1.5 blocks, almost 60% from the floor. Man, that's a robbing though in somebody's. He's near and dear to me. Love him like a brother. But he called Giannis a robbing, man. And I'm real proud of him because he just said it's way too early. Way too early, but he called him the MVP, and I'm proud of him. But man, 37-9-9, Hendo. 37-9-9. I get the Mavericks are 3-3. 36-9 and 37-9 is nuts. Hendo.
I know there's some variables that he's had it. So the thing is this: his out, and I agree, the numbers are there. The problem that I would run into is this: everything that I preached about, the winning does have to play it. It's gonna have to play it unless KC does something that Russell Westbrook has done. Luka's been utterly amazing. I think a couple of guys, Donovan Mitchell, who we haven't talked about. Donovan Mitchell's put up some crazy scoring numbers, right?
That's true.
Like, I mean, prior to last night's game, I thought, even though the statistics may not show it, Trae Young has been utterly amazing. I think they're trying to figure this team out in Atlanta. I got a couple of guys, but my thing on Luka is going to be this. Somebody can argue, well, yeah, he's had a couple of games this year, like even that OKC game where they lost. He had the numbers, but if you looked at the stat sheet and saw that he shot poorly, he done something, the turnovers, different things, then 37-9 is hard to compete with him. I mean, if he keeps that up, that'll be the only argument he has, but I just can't imagine, Giannis. Like, if that team somehow wins 65 games, let's say if something happened to Chris Middleton or it's prolonged, and he continues this, I don't know how you deny him. But, yeah, I mean, Luka is going to be a favorite for a lot of people because of the numbers, but I look at it from the winning, too. Like, he's doing that, but that team looks on and off.
I get that. But
I just want to say, Jamal, that guy also said that Giannis is the best player in the league right now too, man. Just I'm
glad you came around, man.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, because you're over there dry snitching on me, man.
Best player in the league being a Robin, man. It's crazy.
I just want to put it on record. I said when it comes time to land the plane, man, it was Chris Middleton when it came time to land the plane. Those big games, besides the game 6 in the NBA Finals, but. We seen Chris Middleton shoot it out, man, with Atlanta. We seen him have great shootout. I mean, but he was winning. Chris Middleton was winning in his shootouts, though. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm just saying, but I digress because y'all gonna have people going into my inbox and stuff like that, man, on those hot takes. But this is what I'm really interested for Hendo right here. Now, Hendo, I'm gonna pop this off because man. But I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna give you. I want you to get your blazer on. Get your blaze on. Because especially you and Maul, y'all had this conversation. But and this has been a conversation all summer. I think we've been talking about this for over a year as well. All three of us and all the guys collectively. Hendo, if I'm not mistaken, this is a contract year as well, correct? Is this a contract year?
No, it's not a contract.
No, it's not a contract.
Tony
It is
Pollard.
for Pollard. For Pollard, it is. Okay. But Zeke has an option this year. Is it an option this year? They can release him?
Yeah, so basically the cap works is that they keep him, it's $11 million. If they cut him, they only have to pay him $5. So we know what that looks like.
Yeah, what that looks like. Yeah. So Hendo.
Yeah.
From my perspective, okay, my perspective, okay.
I think everybody's perspective. Go.
Okay, is you know, I always felt that Tony Pollard was the guy, and you know, I hear you talk about, you know, it's a good balance, you know, running deal. You know, Zeke can take the pounding, you know, and Pollard's to change the pace back, and you know, hit different things, and you know, Zeke probably wasn't being fed enough, but for the last couple of years, man, Tony Pollard's look explosive. He looks like he can move the ball up the field. He can break those big runs that Zeke used to break. I'm not saying that he's not capable of it anymore, but Zeke used to be that big play back. He used to be that scary back that can go and take a run that's supposed to go 3 or 4 yards and can still take it 20 or 30 or 40 and break out and things of that nature. And Tony Pollard, just when he's in that backfield, man, I mean, his explosiveness, I don't know, like I agree, man, maybe his body can't take the pounding, but Zeke has been the one that's been hurt the last 2 to 3 years. It hadn't been Tony Pollard. And I think that offense has another dimension. I mean, because you at a point right now, you know, you got Dak back, you know, and you had your QB controversy, quote unquote. People wanted to be a controversy with Cooper Rush, but we know Dak is obviously the better quarterback. But you got Philly that's 7-0 right now. I mean, you're in a division race, and Philly just came and beat you, and you're 1 game behind. I think you got to be able to put your best players on the field, man. Your defense is great. I think it's time to let Tony Pollard take a lot of pressure off of Dak Prescott and go ahead and let Tony Parker be the bell cow of that offense and Zeke, man, be the change of pace guy. But Hendo, I'm about to come spot in on you, man. You got your blaze on, man. Let's go.
Man. Look, I don't disagree with anybody who says from a talent standpoint that Tony Pollard offers more. I do agree that he probably fits his team's dynamic better. It was similar to when like Green Bay, when McCarthy was there, they had Ty Montgomery, right? They had this guy that could change the pace, could catch, do things. The offense does look better with Tony Pollard, and I think that has a lot to do with the play calling. You have more opportunity with his speed. He changes the pace of the game, but the problem is this. The last 2 times that Dak has gotten hurt, Tony Pollard was on the field with him. And he missed the block. And I think that Zeke makes that slight difference. And I know people gonna say, well, it's just blocking, but you know, as we all know, blocking is important for a running back, especially in pass situations. I would be more opposed to the idea that they both split carries. It's tough for me to grade anything considering it was Chicago and knowing what we know about Chicago now. I mean, they did have a top 3 pass defense, but their run defense wasn't good. We'll see, because they're going to start playing some teams that do have the run defense that can sort of stop that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Tony Pollard's the better player. I do think that like the dynamic is, and I think Michael Irvin said something that was very important, is there's a relationship thing there between Dak, Zeke, and that team. The team sort of rides with Zeke a little bit, and I wonder from a standpoint, how does that look? Even though, yeah, Tony Pollard may get the more opportunities, but I think if you just flat out not, you know, just make him to where he's only getting 5 carries a game, because we've seen Zeke be effective, right? We've seen flashes and moments. I think it's just about how you use them. Now, like, to me, have them both out there in certain situations, right? Like Tony Pollard this year was supposed to be, from what we were told through the media, was he can line up as a receiver. He's done that before. He can do different things. So he's not just a running back. And to me, yeah, right now, obviously, he's the better player, clear cut. That's not a question. I do think the Cowboys, just because of the dynamic of not wanting to pay running backs anymore, you probably could move on from him. But my issue is if you move on from Zeke, that means you better hope that you keep a Tony Pollard, because I don't know how you walk in the next season with none of them. And then you trying to say that, hey, yeah, we made the right decision. So I think that you probably should have locked up Tony Pollard a little differently, maybe gave him a cheaper deal when you had a chance, because I think he's going to get paid now. He's on audition. And also, one key thing that changes this team is this. The running game is going to get better in a couple of weeks. Tyron Smith is going to be back. So you get your left tackle, which means you can put your rookie, who's pretty good at left tackle, back in his position at left guard. So you're going to get a lot of weapons back healthy. But, yeah, Tony Pollard's the better running back. You're not going to get that from me, but I will say this. I want Zeke to get a little more respect about getting the carries, because when he has gotten the carries, we've seen the impact. And I mean, he's had games where he's had 5 or 6 yards of carry. He's had the games where he's only had 4, right? But in the show yardage situations at goal line, that's where Zeke is important. It kind of reminds me of when those Falcons had T.J. Duckett and Warwick Dunn, or you knew Warwick Dunn was Tony Pauls like that Warwick Dunn, but you had the bruiser and T.J. Duckett in the short situations, and it worked. And I think that you can have this identity. You need both, and why not play them both? But I will say, clocking in, Tony Pollard needs to clock in a little bit more than Zeke at this point. And honestly, I told y'all this already. I don't think Zeke should be playing for the next 2 or 3 weeks. If it's true about his knee, I don't see the reason to rush him back. I think that you look at it like and say, hey, get yourself ready. We're going to need you in December, January, not right now. Because when it gets cold, that's when we're going to see who Tony Pollard is. Because he's going to play teams in that weather and stuff and like that, and you're going to need that. So, yeah, I agree. I think it's unfortunate for Zeke with the injuries. But like I said, he's had his moments. But, yeah, you can definitely see the loss of the burst. But he's never really had that. But to me, the missing, him not being able to break tackles and make the extra push on the run, because that was something that Zeke was always notorious for. It wasn't about him making the breakaway runs. It was about that first contact, what he did afterwards. He's not even doing that anymore. But his pass blocking is there.
So let me ask you this real fast, Mark, before I get into it, because you and Hendo was going at it, man, all season. Where y'all at on this bet, man? Zeke getting 1,000 yards, man. Y'all still think that's
the time frame will be on Thursday morning. If they announce that he's out, we'll find out about Thursday. The bet will be handed over. I've already made it clear. Any games missed does not help me. Zeke is not going to get 150 yards a game all of a sudden. So yeah, it's over. I lost that bet fair and square. I'll take it, but I will say that Zeke proved that he can still run the football a little bit. He didn't look bad. He got hurt. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah. All right, Bob, where we at with it, man? Hey, talk to me. Is it time?
No, they need both of them. We don't know what Tony Pollard is. So to just hand it over to him right now, yeah, Tony Pollard has more yards on less carries than Zeke. I think the average is 6.1 to 4.2 in favor of Pollard, but they need both. For what Hendo was saying, for the tough yards, you want Zeke. For the pass blocking, you want Zeke. Now, you do need Pollard for explosive plays, the change of pace and all that. So for the rest of the year, you need both. Can Tony Pollard be your bell cow, your number one going forward? Who knows? Only the front office in Dallas knows that for sure. They have to make that decision. They're probably going to let Zeke go in the offseason. That's just doing business, man. Running backs making that much money doesn't make any sense. So, but for the rest of the year, you keep both of them. I think you give a little more carries to Pollard, but keep it the same, man. They need both of them to win. They've been doing good this year. Both of them, even Zeke has been doing good on the opportunities he's gotten. So, but no, don't just push him to the side. Give him a little bit more carries, but no, don't push him to the side. Talking about Zeke.
All right, y'all, man. We about to bring this thing on home, man. We about to bring it on home. We got Game 3 of the World Series tonight, man. Just got postponed, so they up in Philly. Hendo, I know, man, baseball is dear to your heart, man. How you like this series? Who you think wins tonight, and how you think the rest of the series go?
I'm not a Houston Astros supporter. I do have a lot of guys that I deal with, good friends on that team, even the organization. But from a talent standpoint, that pitching staff is phenomenal. I mean, you got the random Justin Verlander having a bad game one or not what he used, because I mean he had the record 7-0 in game ones in playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. He's never been beaten, and he had the random bad World Series game. Tonight you're going to get, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, Noah Syndergaard versus Lance McCullers. Syndergaard, I think he may be a free agent coming up. This may be an auditioning showing that, hey, I can still be that guy, right, for Philly. Lance McCullers, who was hurt relatively throughout the year, still is a good arm, great arm. I just look at the talent on both teams, and I think that the separator is that I trust Houston's pitching a lot more, because not only did on the other end Verlander got touched up, Wheeler and Nola, who are considered both of the two guys in Philly, got touched up. And Bryce Harper's been unreal. and I think that this is a magical run. Like I kind of figured once they got past Atlanta, there may be something there because they're just hot. They're getting it going. Cal Schwarber, he's been there, done that. They got guys that have been in situations like this before, but I think Houston wins this game. I'm waiting on Altuve to have that moment to where he has his big game, and that's the thing. He hadn't been relatively good in his playoffs, and look at how they've been able to win with that. I mean, Jeremy Pena is making a name for himself, young shortstop over there. If I was a betting man, depending on the odds, Philly has a chance, but I think Houston is the better team. And look, Dusty Baker, this is the ghost. And I will say this right now on record. If in the event Houston loses this game, I think the series may be over. Because the problem is this: you let them get one in Houston. Mm-hmm. Now you got to win at least two here. And Philadelphia's environment is different. You're playing in different elements. The weather is going to be a little bit chilly. Because you're used to playing in the roof in Houston. So we'll see. But their pitching staff is phenomenal. You got to see more for that bullpen with Ryan Stanek and different guys. But I got Houston winning it. But if Philly wins this game, Bryce Harper may have his first World Series coming over to him. And from a historic value, boy, we're going to have the Blazer talk about all-time rankings with him. So, yeah, I got Houston winning, but this is a big game for Noah Syndergaard, who got traded there during the midseason. For him to be in an audition somewhat take for a team next year that's looking to add an ace or a guy that could be a potential still ace. His health hadn't been there. He could prove to everybody that, hey, I'm still a big-time pitcher. So I got Houston winning this game, but if Phillies win this game, it may be over.
Go ahead.
Obviously, I'm gonna go and hop in there. Hendo, I mean, I agree with you. Houston got to win this game, and you know we talk about Verlander, man. It's probably one of a generational pitcher. You know people got him up there as one of the greatest pitchers of all time, rightfully so. But this is the thing, Hendo. I think this is his fourth World Series that he's been a part of. I know he was hurt last year. But in World Series, Verlander has not won a World Series game in his career. Mm-hmm. He has not won one in his career. And so I'm afraid if Houston is not in a position to go ahead and put a stranglehold in this series when it comes back to Verlander and having that on his back that he's never won a World Series game in his career, I think that's some extra added pressure for him to be able to go ahead and close things out, or at least have to win a pivotal game, such as a Game 4 or Game 5. So I think the Astros got to put this into a stranglehold. And also, man, I want to see Dusty Baker get one, man. That's just a guy, just for me, man, that grew up on Dusty Baker, man. Dusty Baker, man, just being that manager, man, that we always seen, and I always see him get so close and never win it. Outside of the Braves, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not a big fan of the Astros either, but I'm a huge fan of Dusty Baker, and I really want to see him get one so he can put his name as one of the greatest coaches of all time, because I think the only thing that's keeping him out of there is that ring. We had that ring conversation. So I think the Astros gonna handle business tonight, man. I think they got the better bats as well, and they're gonna go ahead and handle it and put this series away. I don't see Phillies winning another game.
Yeah, I disagree with y'all. This isn't a must win for Houston. Houston has been here, done that. Been to the playoffs. I think 6 straight years, 7 out of 8. Yeah. So they know how to operate in these situations. This 1-1. It ain't 0-2. Philly stole one, came back and won Game 1 at the end. Philly's hot. They've been hot. But at some point, those bats got to cool down, because Houston does have the better pitching staff. Yes. They have the better roster, better hitters. But again, Philly's been hot. So I don't think this is a must win. I had Houston in 6. That's still in the cards. So even if Philly wins tonight, I still got Houston winning. I think Houston does win this game tonight, though. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was a backdoor sweep, man. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Houston in 5. So that's my take on it, man. I'm like y'all said with Dusty Baker. Hope he gets one. Should have got one back in San Francisco with Bonds 2 decades ago, but maybe this is his time. hopefully it's his time. So
Yeah, I mean, and from a historic preference, I mean, obviously being African American, Dusty Baker. I think if I'm not mistaken, the last manager was Cito Gaston back in '90 or '92 with the Blue Jays.
92.
So yeah, so like you got some historic preference there, and like I said for Dusty, that monkey, that demon that's been there for his whole career because he's had some great teams that come up short. I mean, he's coached some generational guys like Barry Bonds that got to the World Series. They haven't run to the Angels who were hot and they lost that series. Like he's had his moments, right? So for Dusty, just the conversations I had with him and stuff, and just being able to talk to him, I don't think it's such a pressure for him, but I do believe that inside his mind, this will be sort of like a curtain call for him because if he wins this, who's to say he doesn't retire? Or if he runs it back again, this Houston team is good enough to where, yeah, you would come back and run it back again. But the scary part about that is this. If they were to get gentlemen swept, how does the front office look at that? Because they are the more talented team. There has been some situations where you probably left a pitcher in too long. That was a manager's call and different things like that. But I really think that Houston should win this. And, man, Alex Bregman got hot. They got the better team. Like, if you went on paper, Bryce Harper may be the best player on the field, right?
Yeah.
But everything else points at Houston.
Let's be real. I mean, nobody picked the Phillies to be here. They finished third in the division.
Yeah.
And they just went on a tear. I mean, nobody picked them to be here.
They've gotten lucky. You want to talk about luck, and I know I don't want to discredit them, but I really thought that, like, they've already faced a team, I won't say similar to the Astros, but like the Braves who have that. But they ran into a situation where Max Fried wasn't, I don't know what happened to him in that series, but Strider as well. Like it seemed like the moment got there for them, but I think they got lucky because I feel like this is their only opportunity to do this. If they do it now, they're not going to do this next year. I'm putting that on the record now. Teams are going to get better. Those two teams that are in the NL East, in the NL East, you got the Mets and those teams are coming. And they're better teams. They just got lucky. Like it's a magical run, and it wouldn't shock me if it happened. But come on, Dusty, I need this with Dusty. Like
you need this one, Dusty.
Like Dusty got to get this, man. I hate it because he's like the Don Nelson of the Major League Baseball. He has all the wins, but he has nothing else.
Nothing else to show for it. Yeah. We can't let the world forget about Dusty Baker like we tend to do, man. We can't let the world. Well, hey guys, listen. Man, we ran through those. Hendo, as always, man, we appreciate you, man. Hey, make sure y'all follow everybody on Instagram and Twitter, man. Y'all got Jamal, man. Follow him on Instagram and Twitter. See Hendo, Instagram and Twitter. Derek Williams, Instagram and Twitter. And make sure you follow All Takes Matter on Instagram and Twitter as well, guys. Hey, we'll see y'all next episode. Y'all have a great day, and we'll be back.
All right, man. Y'all take it easy.
Peace.